beach, and from her large window in her master's suite, she could look out onto the waters from her terrace, or through a telescope that was in her room at any time. Life had been hard for her before coming to Schooner Bay, Maine. She had lost her husband in a tragic car accident when she was only 27, leaving her with two young children, Jonathan, who was only 2 at the time, and Candy, who was just 4. Carolyn had never had a full-time job, and although she'd gone to college and received a degree in journalism, she had never had a chance to practice. She had gotten married to Bobby Muir right out of college, and Candy had come along a year later. Bobby's death had been hard on her and her little family, and although her in-laws had good intentions, they had tried to help her by staying in Philadelphia, but it was no longer an option. They had needed to start a new life, and with a little fanfare, she and her 2 children and her housekeeper, Martha, went to live in Gull Cottage. When they had arrived, they were surprised to find out that the cottage was haunted by its original owner, Captain Daniel Gray. Ever since the day they had moved into the house, Carolyn had known that they were there because they were meant to be there. They were all there because they belonged. All 5 of them, Scruffy the dog, Martha the housekeeper, and the 2 children, Candy and Jonathan. Now her parents were coming. They were coming to visit for a 2-week stay, and Carolyn and the captain were tired of using Claymore to impersonate the captain before with near disaster. Her parents had thought that she might be thinking of remarrying and had set up their wedding. She wanted to tell her parents about the captain. He was a part of their lives. She wanted her parents to go and to meet him. She wasn't sure how she was going to do this, and she would need to speak to the captain and get his approval. Carolyn took a deep breath and walked into the bedroom. "Captain, can I please have a word with you?" she asked. The captain appeared to her almost immediately and said with a smile, "How can I be of assistance, madame?" "My mother's just called to verify that she and Dad are going to be at our home for a 2-week visit on this Saturday. They'll be driving up, and I'm looking forward to it," she said with a smile. "It will be a pleasure to see them again, although they won't be able to see me," the captain said with a sad look. "That's what I want to address. I would like them to meet you. The last time they came, it was near disaster. It's so hard to keep a secret from someone, and when they're staying here at your home for such a long period of time." The captain seemed to be thinking very hard on this subject. Carolyn didn't know what he was thinking, but after a few long moments he spoke. "That is something that I've pondered myself. I trust that it would remain a secret among your family, however. Do you think that they would accept me?" he asked. "They will accept you, as they will have no other choice. You are now a very large part of our family, and I want them to know the man that I have come to love very well," Carolyn told them. "Then I will be honored to meet them. We need to explain to the children and Martha so that they know what's going on and how they will react when your parents find out. I want your parents to see me with the children. Although I never had any children of my own, I consider Candy and Jonathan to be my children now," the captain said with a genuine smile. The captain and Carolyn decided the best time to tell the family was at dinner, so when they had all taken their seats, she approached the subject. "You know, your grandparents will be here tomorrow. Well, the captain and I have some thoughts on the matter, and we would like to know your opinion. We would like to tell them about the captain." Candy and Jonathan gave out a big smile, and nearly in unison they were said how happy they were with the thought. It's so hard not to tell about him to other people. I love you, Captain Gregg, Candy told him. We can take Granddad fishing, and you can show him some of your cool stuff. I love you too. You're the only father figure I've ever known, Jonathan told her. Both Carolyn and Captain Gregg were quite emotional about what the children had just said, and it was then that they both wished more than anything that they could give each other hugs, but that was not possible. I think, too, that it's time that your parents got to meet the captain. If you were my daughter, and I was thinking about you marrying Claymore, I'd be very worried. They will understand, Martha chimed in. The next day, her parents arrived, and as they were saying their greetings and then went up to the guest bedroom, Carolyn asked her parents to come down to the parlor where they'd have a chance that she could talk to them. Brad and Emily were surprised that her daughter had wanted to talk to them. After the fiasco with the wedding, they had planned that made her minds up that they were second-guess what the child was doing again. As they came into the parlor, they were surprised to find the whole family sitting there with a strange man. He was very tall and good-looking. However, his clothes seemed to be a little bit outdated. Carolyn stood next to him and introduced him. Brad was surprised when he offered handshake was not returned. Mom, Dad, I'd like you to take a seat. I have something to explain to you, Carolyn said. We have come to the parlor to introduce you to our friend who is considered to be a member of our family. Unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond our control, we have been not open to telling you about his presence. We now feel that it's time for you to meet the real Captain Gregg. The Williams looked at each other and Carolyn spoke first. Why would you send another man to meet him instead of him? It was then that she realized that the man in front of them was looking much like the man in the portrait. He was wearing the same clothes. She couldn't help herself but give out a slight gasp. Brad looked at his wife in puzzlement and said, "Could someone please explain this to me?" With that, Captain Gregg started to explain who he was and what a family meant to him. I built this house over 100 years ago with my own two hands and died from kicking a blasted heater. For nearly 100 years I stayed here until the Muirs came to stay, and from that day on I began to feel like I was alive once again. The family means to me the world, and I will do all that I can do to make them happy. It was just quite a hard pill to swallow for both of Carolyn's parents. How on earth could he provide for a family when he was dead? Is he the reason why their daughter hadn't remarried? It was at the same time that Candy spoke. You see, we were a broken family without a dad, and with little money, just love. And the captain had the home and the land and his love. We've always been happy here and have always been welcome and safe. Jonathan told him, "He's taught me so many things that I could not have learned on my own. And I have never had a sad moment when the captain is around that I can remember. I love him, and I would love my father had he been alive." Emily and Brad looked over at each other and gave their grandchildren a hug. "I hope that he's good enough for you too. We accept and love him," his mother chimed in. And with that, another chapter in the Muir life began. Now that is the end of my story. I hope you enjoyed it. I've never read one, and I hope that everybody likes it. Thank you.